What if I had to play Ad Nauseam Tendrils? What if my life depended on it? What if I got $1 million for making top 8 with it at Eternal Weekend? This is the deck list that I would play. In front of you is Legacy Ad Nauseam Tendrils, and it's a donation deck from Tyler Carden, who's a longtime supporter of this channel, who recently became a member of the Combo Cabal. With the Combo Cabal, you get 1 hour of free tutoring every month, but you also get a free donation deck, and Tyler is cashing those in. So I recently met with Tyler about Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Tyler's a longtime pilot of the deck and wants to play it at this upcoming Eternal Weekend in order to win that spicy Tendrils of Agony promo, but wants to get the dust off, but also build a list that's a little bit more competitive, because cards like Preordain haven't aged well in the era of the London Mulligan. So Tyler wants an updated deck list. So we hopped on a call and we used that hour of time to talk about what we would like to do to the deck. And we ultimately landed on the list in front of you with no copies of Past in Flames or other traditional Ad Nauseam cards. We're even trimming Cabal Ritual down to just 2 copies. So some big changes here today, but I'm going to do a little bit of a longer deck tech and really break down some of the thought philosophies and help you understand how we arrived at this deck list. So the big thing, we're not playing Past in Flames, and that is going to come to a shock to a lot of people because that's a signature card of the deck. Despite it being called Ad Nauseam Tendrils, it's always been a Past in Flames deck. Well, about 2 years ago, they printed a card better than Past in Flames. Well, sort of. That would be Beseech the Mirror, if it ever lets me zoom. There we go. Beseech the Mirror. Okay, so this broken card sort of invalidated Past in Flames, and not quite, because Beseech the Mirror is a tutor. Past in Flames is obviously a payoff spell. That said, Beseech the Mirror allows you to play Gaia's Will, which is a huge difference maker. So instead of playing Past in Flames, you get to play Yawgmoth's Will in Legacy, which allows you to replay things like Lion's Eye Diamond, which you couldn't do previously off of Past in Flames. So now we're playing this tutor card that's also sort of a payoff when you have Gaia's Will. So now you're able to cast it more easily as well, because our deck has Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual in it, so it's easier to cast than something like Past in Flames. Obviously, there's the downside of not having flashback versus counterspell decks. That said, we're a deck with 3 copies of Duress and 4 copies of Thoughtseize, so I don't think that's necessarily the most, impactful point. I'd rather just play the good cards and win more frequently than care about corner case scenarios. So Beseech the Mirror is the big thing. But it's a deck that also features Ad Nauseam, a card that cares about your life total. Okay, so now we're adding in 4 drops into our Ad Nauseam deck. That could be a little sketchy. But if you go back to the heyday of Ad Nauseam Tendrils, and I'm talking about 2017, 2018, with Cyrus Corman Gill absolutely dominating the Legacy scene with this archetype, Cyrus was playing Dark Petition. Cyrus was playing Past in Flames. Cyrus was playing Empty the Warrens. Okay, those are all expensive cards in your main deck. And you might be saying, okay, well, you're still playing one more expensive card like Beseech the Mirror here. Yeah, you are, but you're also playing, 2 fewer Cabal Ritual. Okay, so all in all, the mana value actually levels out. Like, if you do the math, you're actually slightly lower than you were in the past, because you're obviously not playing Preordain either, and we're playing Mishra's Bauble. So on average, your Ad Nauseams are actually slightly better. Not to mention the fact we're playing 4 copies of Chrome Mox. Why would you want to play 4 of this card? Well, 1, it's very good with Ad Nauseam. So that means that your Ad Nauseams, even from a lower life total, can win the game more frequently. We like that. But they're also, honestly, the best card with Beseech the Mirror. That is something that I've learned from playing lots and lots of the Epic Storm, is that Chrome Mox is so good because it makes mana on the front half, you can then bargain it, and then you replay it, and it makes mana on the back half that allows you to bargain again. It's even better than Lotus Petal, because you don't get to bargain away the Lotus Petal after it makes mana. So Chrome Mox, secretly the best card with Beseech the Mirror. So it's good with Beseech the Mirror, and it's good with Ad Nauseam. And there's no downside to something like Past in Flames, where it doesn't get back the Chrome Mox like it did in the past, because we're playing Gaia's Will. So you have a more coherent strategy that just works together. So that's the big thing. And then 2 copies of Cabal Ritual. Why would we trim down to 2? Well, in those older lists, when you went to go sideboard, the rule was you always cut 1, because in post-board games, your opponents bring in so much graveyard hate. Okay, well then you were effectively playing 3 already. And now you're no longer a Past in Flames deck, you're a Gaia's Will deck. And with Gaia's Will, you're able to replay Chrome Mox or Lion's Eye Diamond, which takes a lot of the pressure off of Cabal Ritual. You're basically just playing Cabal Ritual as a black copy of Desperate Ritual to help you cast Beseech the Mirror. That's the idea. That's why we're playing this Guy's Will package. And Cabal Ritual is just not as important as it used to be. So you don't really need it to do all that heavy lifting. And that's another big change. One nice thing about this deck list is that Infernal Tutor gets a lot better because now you have deterministic lines at 4 mana. So in theory, you could go turn 1, play your basic island, Chrome Mox, imprint a Duress, play Cabal Ritual, play Lion's Eye Diamond, Infernal Tutor into Beseech the Mirror to get back Gaia's Will. After you Gaia's Will, you could in theory play the Lion's Eye Diamond, make 3 black, Infernal Tutor for another copy of Lion's Eye Diamond, which makes a black mana. You could play the Cabal Ritual, and then you could play the Chrome Mox, bargain it away with the Tendrils of Agony, and then into Tendrils of Agony. Sorry, I misspoke there. But that's the idea. So that you have more lines that win off of less mana. That's the biggest thing that I've noticed about Beseech the Mirror, is it does allow you to win with less mana. In the Epic Storm, that was one of the first things we found, and that was a big reason why we cut Rite of Flame. And now you're able to do the same thing in Ad Nauseam Tendrils with trimming down on Cabal Rituals. No preordains. We are playing Mishra's Bauble though, because it's a 0 for Ad Nauseam, but it's also a bargainable for Beseech the Mirror. We're playing 14 artifacts, and I feel like that's the lowest you're allowed to play with Beseech the Mirror. I featured lists here on the channel in the past that ran a Seat of the Synod or Vault of Whispers, but then your mana base becomes terrible, and I'd rather just play a high quality card like Mishra's Bauble than have to play Seat of the Synod or Vault of Whispers or anything like that. In the sideboard, we have Flusterstorm, Echoing Truth. Flusterstorm is really just for like Doomsday, Sneak and Show, those sort of strategies where I feel like you need a little bit more cards on top of the Thoughtseize and Duress. So Flusterstorm really shines there. Echoing Truth is for Prison. Same thing with the Beseech Who Endures. The nice thing about Beseech Who Endures is that it also comes in against tempo strategies because it helps you cast your Carpet of Flowers off of your 1 green mana source in Tropical Island. So something I brought up to Tyler when we were building this was, I think it would be great if you didn't have to play green. Because if you didn't have to play green, you could run the second copy of Undercity Sewers. But if you don't play green, your answers in the sideboard become a little bit worse. Like, it's nice having either Beseiju or Abrupt Decay versus blue decks with Null Rod, and just having Echoing Truth or Chain of Vapor feels pretty bad because it just gets counterspelled. So you could run something like Otawara Soaring City, but 4 mana to bounce a Null Rod is a lot in Legacy. It is a lot. So Beseiju is probably the best thing you can do. And on top of that, it acts as additional copies of Carpet of Flowers in some ways, but just by making more mana versus the Days Wasteland deck. So these 5 cards, they come in versus Days Wasteland strategies. Empty the Warrens comes in versus Prison, sometimes Tempo. And then you have your Leyline of the Void plus Helm of Obedience combo. This could be for the One Ring, but it's primarily for those graveyard decks. So hopefully you enjoyed the longer deck tech today. I know that it's a little long-winded and I stumbled in a few places, but hopefully it was informative. Tyler, thank you once again for this donation deck. I really do appreciate your support here at the Epic Storm. Everyone, I will see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We're on the draw and I will keep. Let's go. This hand is great. We have a turn 1, Duress into Mishra's Bauble. Maybe draw a Dark Ritual. Turn 2 Ad Nauseam. Those are definitely things I'm into. Flooded Strand. Okay. Chrome Mox. Let's actually hold this Duress for the combo turn because our opponent's holding open Brainstorm. And then I'll Mishra's Bauble now. And why would I want to Mishra's Bauble now? Because if I don't like the card, which I don't want Tropical Island, I can go grab an Undercity Sewers and Surveil, and then I get to determine what my draw is going to be off this bobble, and it's the Tropical Island again! Ah, bummer. I'll keep it. I guess I didn't want it, but I'll keep the land, I guess. We do need a land for turn 2, especially if we get wastelanded. They use the Flooded Strand for a basic island into Ponder. They did not shuffle, and then they play Flooded Strand. Okay. 6 cards remain. We draw the Tendrils. Not ideal. We'll play Tropical Island, and let's Ponder. Okay, I think we keep this. And because I have a Thoughtseize on top, I'll fire off the Duress now. They didn't Spell Pierce, so they really want that top card, huh? We'll take Force of Will. Pass the turn. Interesting. What's the top card? Brainstorm. Okay. They play an island. Play the Polluted Delta, and I think I'm going to pass. They fetch with the Flooded Strand for a Meticulous Archive. And they get rid of Cavern of Souls. Why are you playing Cavern of Souls in your 4th Eralinga's Jeskai deck? Now they play the Ponder. And a Scalding Tarn. And step I'll fetch. We do not have another Surveil land here. And I'll probably just grab a basic, because if for some reason they have like a main deck back to basics, I don't want to be punished, and we don't need more colors. We'll play the land. Let's play Thoughtseize. So we just have to beat a Spell Pierce. So they have Spell Pierce, 4th Eralinga's, Ponder, and a Plains. I will pass. So I could play out the Lotus Petals, and then, like, if they 4th Eralinga's on their turn, I could try to Ad Nauseam in response. But if I do that, they could also just Prismatic Ending a Lotus Petal. I guess I know that they got rid of it. Mystic Sanctuary, that hurts here. And now they get back the Force of Will. But they don't have a red mana for the 4th Eralinga's. Now they Ponder. And now they have the red mana. And they 4th Eralinga's for 1. So they have Spell Pierce and Force of Will up. They didn't play the Plains. I'm wondering if I marked that wrong. If it's Spell Pierce plus or not. So I think I want to draw another discard spell this turn. That would be the best case scenario. And they get the Monarch, so they do get another chance to draw a blue card here. I think I just want the extra black mana. It probably doesn't matter. We'll grab the island. Alright, Duress off the top. Let's see it. Cabal Ritual. Have to pass the turn. They play the Plane, so they did have it. So they have Force of Will, Spell Pierce, and 2 unknowns. And then they'll draw another card on the end step with the Monarch. I'm at 11. Another land. Ugh, brutal. Really missing the second Surveil land in this list right now. But it's only one game, so let's see how it shakes out. Vendilion Click. Is this 2012? Holy moly. They took the Tendrils and we drew Beseech the Mirror. Okay. And now they're going to a Flame of Anor to draw 2. Sure. They swing, we'll go to 6. They play a land. I could try an end step Ad Nauseam here with the Cabal Ritual, which would play around Spell Pierce. The Monarch draws on the stack. We're casting the Cabal Ritual. They have Spell Snare. Alright. It's going to be tough for me to win this. Play Lotus Petal. I guess we'll play another Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual. Ad Nauseam from 6. I know that they have a Force of Will. The step 1 is getting rid of the Force of Will. They do force it, exiling Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. So now I have to pass the turn because we still know about a Spell Pierce in their hand. So I can let them attack me down to 1 and then next turn Beseech the Mirror and try to win through the Spell Pierce. They have Flame of Anor to destroy my Lotus Petal. That is brutal. Okay. And they got to draw 2 cards. So now they attack. Ouch. I'm at 1. Okay, let's see the draw. Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll play the diamond. Play Chromox. We have to hope that they just don't have it. I mean, they probably do, let's be honest. But this is my one shot, my one opportunity. Beseech the Mirror. A hardcast Force of Will. So we did not win game number 1. Bummer. Okay, well, we're going to bring in Carpet of Flowers, Beseech Who Endures, and I think even Empty the Warrens, even though we saw Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. And I think you're allowed to sideboard out Chrome Mox and then the Cabal Rituals, because you're bringing in 5 mana sources between Beseiju and Carpets, and the Beseijus are an answer to things like Null Rod or Stony Silence or Deafening Silence, and Carpet is another bargainable. So you're going down 1 bargain card total in a slower matchup, and I think that's just fine. So is it sketchy having Ad Nauseam and Empty the Warrens? Absolutely. But I am not looking at Ad Nauseam to be a lights out card. I'm just, now my shift has changed a little bit where I'm like, I'm just looking for it to be a card where it's fine. Alternatively, you could board out the Ad Nauseam and then like bring in a Flusterstorm. That's another thing you could do here. But I think I'm going to try this. On the play. Sure, we'll play the basic Swamp and Duress. They're going to Force of Will the Duress. So does that mean you're like protecting a Deafening Silence? It must, right? That's the only way you make that move. Island. Okay. We'll play Island and Thoughtseize. What are you hiding? And I get punished for not playing out the Lotus Petal here. Okay. We'll play Ponder. Keep this. I mean, I could also just fire off the Petal into Duress now. Maybe I'll do that. Counterbalance. Okay. And then you have 3 lands. This really is 2012. Alright. We'll play the Tropical. Our next card is a Brainstorm. They use the Flooded Strand. Meticulous Archive. They surveil away a Force of Will. That's surprising. I mean, if I were in their seat, I would have considered keeping Force of Will. Let's Brainstorm. Interesting. I don't think we need Infernal Tutor. And then the question is, do you keep Bauble as a card you could beseech away? I think I get rid of Brainstorm plus Infernal Tutor here. I think them surveilling away the Force of Will either says that with their 1 unknown draw, I guess it's 2 unknowns, they had a Force of Negation or they didn't have a blue card. They can also fetch now and get the Force of Will back with Mystic Sanctuary. I think I'm going to get rid of the Brainstorm here. They drew Vendilion Click. Okay, so they can get rid of my Beseech the Mirror if they want. And then I'll draw the Brainstorm, and then I can Brainstorm and then keep the Infernal Tutor on top. Okay, so this sort of worked out for me. And now I don't really need the Mishra's Bauble either. And I think the Thoughtseize might be better than the Beseiju. So we'll put those 2 back, and now we get the fetch. I'll grab Undercity Sewers. Keep the land? So if this is a weird spot, because if I go Thoughtseize Infernal Tutor, they could just fetch and then put Force of Will on top. So I don't think that's something I want to do here. I think I'm just supposed to pass the turn. And now they're going to use the Flooded Strand. There's the Mystic Sanctuary. And they do put a Force of Will on top. My best draw here is easily Carpet of Flowers. They play land number 5, 2 cards in their hand. We'll take the hit down to 16. Draw for turn. Beseech the Mirror. I will Infernal Tutor here, and we'll grab another Thoughtseize. I just need to draw a card I can bargain away at this point. Interesting, they're going to fetch. Is this a hardcast Force of Will? It is, okay. So am I supposed to Thoughtseize here? I don't think so. I'm going to just pass the turn. Because I'm not necessarily near winning, I have to draw that bargainable, and in the meantime, they could draw into more counter magic. My best draw is still easily Carpet of Flowers. Lion's a Diamond. So now, if I had 1 more black mana I could win, I think I'm going to try to set up the win for the next turn. We'll play Thoughtseize. And it's double Force of Will. Wow. Okay, so they just had it all. That's unfortunate. So now I need to find another discard spell here. We'll take 3 down to 8. Okay, I wonder if they counterspell this Beseech the Mirror. That would be good. Beseech the Mirror? They have 2 cards. Please Force of Will this. And they do. Perfect. Okay, so they have 1 unknown. They're about to draw another. They ripped a Counterbalance. It's a lot of interaction, and their last card was a Ponder! Wow. So now we have to hope that they keep like a 1 mana value spell on top or a 2 mana value spell. Only way we win here. They did not shuffle. They swing. I'm at 4. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond. Counterbalance triggers. They drew all 4 Force of Wills this game. and 2 counterbalances. They Surgical Extraction Infernal Tutor when I'm sitting on double Beseech the Mirror. So the question is your top card a 0 mana spell? Or, I'm sorry, it could be a land. A 0 mana card. Counterbalance triggers. Okay. So I know that you're Hellbent. And now we can play Beseech the Mirror into Gaia's Will. We'll grab the Gaia's Will. Play it. Counterbalance. Play the Lines of Diamond. Let's just auto-yield to that counterbalance trigger. This is giving me some real 2015 Miracles versus Ad Nauseam Tendrils vibes right now. Pretty insane match. We'll play the land. Storm is 6. I believe this does it. So then it's just add 3 black. Tap the no, that's right. Add 3 black. Tap the Tropical Island. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, sacrificing the Lotus Petal. Storm is 7. Tendrils of Agony. Boom. Wow, if they would have held that Surgical just for the Gaia's Will, we lose this. But everything just happened to go our way, outside of the 4 copies of Force of Will. So we did see a Tamiyo Inquisitive Student, and they showed us that they're playing Counterbalance. They could be playing Terminus, who knows? The question is, do I want Empty? I think the answer is actually no. And I'm more interested in Flusterstorms now. We will sideboard out a Verdant Catacombs. Let's try this. We boarded in 2 lands. I think you're allowed to board out a land. Sure. Keep this. Just looking for more protection. Meticulous Archive. 6 cards in their hand. Ooh, that was good. We'll play Beseech Indoors. Carpet of Flowers. They're thinking about forcing it. It resolves. Okay. Say yes, and I think I'm going to make another green. We'll play Carpet. So the risk here on Thoughtseize versus Carpet is if I Thoughtseize them, they could untap, play a Ponder or Brainstorm into a Force of Will, and then I lose. The other side of the risk is, what if I don't Thoughtseize them and then they slam Stony Silence or Counterbalance or Deafening Silence? Like, there's pros and cons. Why I'm choosing to play the second copy of Carpet here is if they play another island, I have a protected win on my turn. I can make 4 black mana with the Carpets and then Beseech the Mirror into the win after I Thoughtseize them. And they did play another island. So this looks like our chance to shine. Lotus Petal. Yes. We'll make black. Yes, we'll make black. Thoughtseize. The Force of Will, exiling Tamiyo. Let's play... I could just go Sewer's Pass looking for another protection spell. I could also Brainstorm off the Petal. But even if I hit this turn off the Brainstorm, I'd have to find another black mana, so I think it's supposed to just be the Undercity Sewers. And we'll keep the Ponder. Pass. They cycle a Lorien Revealed for a Volcanic Island. Are you going to play it? I mean, right now we have 2 green Soul Rings in play. Now we have 2 green better than Black Lotuses. Hi-oh. Alright, so we'll make 1 for blue and 1 for black. We'll lead on Ponder. See if this gets hit by Pyroblast. I'm guessing they searched out Volcanic Island for a reason. I am so surprised. And now we'll Brainstorm, see if we can convert these into cards that are better here. Okay. They have 3 cards remaining. Put back the Swamp and Infernal Tutor? No, the other Beseech, I think. Play Lotus Petal. Play Lines of Diamond. And now we will Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. So what's interesting here is if I get rid of a Carpet and they force, Infernal Tutor into Tendrils, or Infernal Tutor Beseech Tendrils could be lethal, but if they have like Force blue card Spell Snare, I get blown out of the water. I think I'm supposed to get rid of 1 Carpet. It might be a little greedy here, but this seems like a good window for me to try to win while they're tapped low. We will play Gaia's Will. This is a must counter spell if they want to stay in this game. Storm is 7. Surgical Extraction on Beseech the Mirror. That's why I kept the Infernal Tutor. Gaia's Will. And now Thoughtseize you. Storm 9. 2 cards left. Spell Snare and Wrath of the Skies. So now we'll play Carpet of Flowers, go to our next main phase, make 3 black mana, and win this. So now we'll go to the next phase. Getting to use Carpet of Flowers twice in the same turn. Pretty good. We'll make 3 black mana. Hold Control. Cast Infernal Tutor. Add 3 black. And our opponent concedes. That was sweet. I have to say, Carpet of Flowers really shined. We beat a ton of interaction. Feels good. Feels real good. We are now 1-0 in this Legacy League. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, we're on the play. Yeah, this hand is very good. Keep. We'll play the Polluted Delta, fetch, go grab the basic swamp, and duress. Okay, we'll take the Force of Will. Pass the turn. So they do have a Ponder to dig for another Force of Will. 1 Ponder down. Let's see a shuffle. They did not shuffle. We'll draw another Lotus Petal. Does that give me the win? So we'll play Lotus Petal, play Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Beseech the Mirror, sack the Petal. I think it does, even through a Daze. So I'd float a black, replay. Yeah, I think we could even beat a Daze here. If they happen to have drawn another Force of Will, congratulations. We'll Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Storm 4. Select the Gaia's Will. Cast it holding priority, and then I'll sacrifice this Lotus Petal for a black. Gaia's Will. And they concede. Nice, take that. And I think they're on Dimir tempo, so I will bring in the Carpet of Flowers and the Beseech Who Endures. I think I like the empty in this matchup, and you're supposed to sideboard out the Ad Nauseam. And then take out Cabal Ritual. And then shave down on Chrome Mox. Leave in 1. You might be saying, why leave in a Chrome Mox? We're facing a tempo deck. Well, I get it. It's card disadvantage for speed. We're no longer having the Ad Nauseam in our deck, but it's still one of the best cards with Beseech the Mirror. And you just need a certain amount of bargainable cards in your deck in order for Beseech the Mirror to function. So I'd rather have Chrome Mox than the first copy of Cabal Ritual. Gaia's Will, my favorite. Do we keep this? I'm not so sure. This hand doesn't actually do anything. We're going to send it back. Ay. Deck, why are you like this? We're going to 5. I even boarded up on lands. I think we're priced into keeping this. Get rid of Thoughtseize and Thoughtseize? I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to keep the Thoughtseize and put back a Duress. I have no idea. They fetch with Misty for Tropical Island. Nile Spellbomb. Undercity Sewers, we'll play that. Keep a Lotus Petal, I think. So if they don't Wasteland me, I can then play a Petal next turn, Duress on the following turn. We actually have enough mana to Beseech the Mirror. And now they Ponder. And Wasteland. Okay. Pass the turn. And it is not Dimir tempo because obviously they have a Tropical Island. So this could be like Bug Beans. They play Polluted Delta. Or an Underground Sea. Rumble. What? It's an Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath and a Swamp. That is a spicy inclusion here. They get their Eldrazi spawn. And they chose the Swamp and didn't play it. I guess they must have played the Tropical Island that turn. Well, I don't think they're playing Daze. I mean, I could be wrong, but this doesn't seem like a Daze deck to me. So I think I want to keep the Lotus Petal for Storm, because we're not allowed to Gaia's Will with this Nile Spellbomb. So we're probably an empty gamer this game, so I need the Storm count. Let's fire off the Duress. They have 4 cards, one of them is a Swamp. Collector Oof. What? Pass the turn. Interesting that they didn't play the Collector Oof last turn, and they played a Rumble instead. I mean, if they play the Collector Oof, I just lose this game. I guess they're oh, they don't want to play it because they played Nile Spellbomb. That would make more sense. Okay, so now they play the Swamp. That's just good deck building. They're going to use the Swamp and then play the Collector Oof. There they go. Okay. And they are still holding open Endurance. I guess we pass. They play Undercity Sewers. They kept a card on top. We'll take 2. There's still a world in which I draw green mana into Carpet of Flowers that we win. It just doesn't seem very likely. Beseech the Mirror. And now an Orcish Bowmasters. Alright, I'm not going to show them my hand. We can go to game 3. That was tough. We got stuck on lands after boarding up to 16 lands. I am not going to sideboard in Echoing Truth just for Collector Roof. I feel like that's a little bit of clown shoes. You should just try to win instead. And in a lot of situations, you can just win through the Collector Roof by having Dark Ritual or Carpet of Flowers. We just drew like poop that game, so just going to focus on being a better deck. We'll keep this. They mulligan, and they kept 6. I'm going to just play the Underground Sea and Ponder. We love this. We'll keep all of these. Beseech the Mirror on the bottom, Dark Ritual, Duress. Pass the turn. They have a Bayou. Nile Spellbomb. Sure. Play the Polluted Delta, we'll pass. They play their own Polluted Delta. Undercity Sewers. Of course, the top card is our fetchable. Our only green mana, and we surveilled into it. I mean, I could have fetched first, but then I'm opening my green source up to Wasteland, and I didn't want to do that. Undercity Sewers. And they surveil away Endurance. They play a Forest. So this Carpet of Flowers is not looking amazing. We'll fetch. Grab the Tropical Island we put on top. Dark Ritual was a very good draw. Okay, so I think we just play Infernal Tutor here. Reveal Duress. And now I will Duress them. Storm is 2. Drown in the Lock. Play Carpet of Flowers. We'll go to the second main phase. And I'll make a black mana. Dark Ritual. And then we have Duress, Dark Ritual, Beseech. And they're going to Force of Will the Dark Ritual. Exiles a Lorien Revealed. Okay. 3 cards in their hand. They play a Ponder and a Polluted Delta. 2 cards remain. Witherbloom Command. So I no longer have a bargainable for my Beseech the Mirror. I think I'm supposed to pass, because playing the Duress here doesn't actually help me. And now they Ponder again. We draw Ponder. Let's play it. Think this is a shuffle. Another Ponder. I like that. Cast it. If we can hit a bargainable, there we go. We have a large empty. Duress them. Force of Will and Endurance. So we'll play Carpet. Storm is 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. So I cannot Tendrils for lethal, but I can make a large amount of goblins. We'll do black. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Beseech the Mirror with bargain. Sacrifice the Carpet. And empty the Warrens. Who let the goblins out? Who? Pass the turn. So they can now use the Nile Spellbomb to draw a card to dig for an answer, or they could flash in the Endurance on the end step and then next turn use the Spellbomb. And it looks like they're going to choose the Endurance route. They target me with the Endurance. So I attack, they would take 15, and now they're going to use the Nile Spellbomb. They have 2 unknown cards in their hand. No way, they ripped the Tamiyo. If they can flip the Tamiyo next turn, we're in trouble. I ripped Infernal Tutor, but we don't have an Abrupt Decay. So I will go to combat. Swing. Is this an Orcish Bowmasters? Assassin's Trophy. So I can grab an island. The sad part is I'm 1 storm short of lethal here. But I think the correct move is I grab Beseech the Mirror. And then their life total next turn, even if they flip the Tamiyo, I'm going to be able to chain Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing Goblin tokens, because Bargain can sacrifice Goblin tokens. And then you could just play all of your Beseeches into a Tendrils for 10. Grab the Beseech. Pass the turn. So even if they flip the Tamiyo, I think we're going to be okay. Unless they flip Tamiyo and hit a counterspell. And our opponent concedes the match. We are now 2-0 with Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. For round number 3, we're on the draw. This hand seems fine. We'll try it. This would actually be a pretty good hand for a Cabal Ritual. Obviously, Dark Ritual would be pretty nice as well. Another Flooded Strand. Okay. Holy Blue Batman. Ponder. And they did not shuffle with the Ponder. Dark Ritual, an amazing draw. We'll play the Mishra's Bauble. Target myself. Polluted Delta. I think I would like to draw that, so we will just pass the turn and surveil on their end step. If I didn't want the card, I would have fetched for Basic Island and played Ponder. Polluted Delta. And now they fetch. Underground Sea. And it looks like they're going to pass. Once again, I'm going to grab the Surveil land with this Misty Rainforest. Get rid of the other Ponder. They're holding open Orcish Bowmasters here, so you don't want to spend a ton of resources playing into it. And I think I'll Ponder here. Like, yeah, it's going to feel bad getting hit by Bowmasters. Ooh, Dark Ritual. Hi-oh. Okay. We'll play the Lotus Petal. Fetch down to 17. I'm sorry, down to 18. We'll grab the basic. And let's Thoughtseize. Brainstorm in response. Hopefully they hide all the good cards. Thoughtseize on the stack. They have 6 cards in hand. We'll take the days. Lines of Diamond. This is going to be the first time resolving Ad Nauseam in her deck with 5 total 4 mana value spells. Dark Ritual. And now we'll play the Ad Nauseam, holding priority, add 3 black. Here we go. It's been a while since I've done this. Cabal Ritual. Lines of Diamond. Infernal Tutor. That's already a win! Beseech the Mirror. Lotus Petal. Duress. Brainstorm. We'll stop there, I guess. It doesn't matter. We'll play the Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual, and the opponent concedes. Beautiful. Are they on Dimir Tempo or Reanimator? I don't know. I'm going to guess Dimir Tempo. Something that I brought up on a Discord call last night was that I don't even really love Leyline of the Void versus Dimir Reanimator. It's really just like an Oops All Spells / combo card matchup. And Dimir Reanimator makes feeling Leyline, like, it feels dumb to play it. Like, they have 3 Brazen Borrowers, they have Tamios, Orcish Bowmasters. Like, they just can ignore the card so easily. And I feel like it's really there for combo. Oops All Spells, Echo of Aeons decks, that sort of thing. So we're going to board out Chrome Mox because we're bringing in the Carpets, the Besejus, and we'll try this. I like Flusterstorm against Reanimator too because obviously it can counter Reanimate. It can also hit the Entomb. We have the Guy's Will, but we also have Brainstorm. So maybe this hand is secretly fine. Guy's Will. In my hand 100% of the time. I'm going to try it out. Underground Sea. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. You've got it. We could also just be a crazy person and suspend the Guy's Will on turn 1. They take Beseech the Mirror. Misty. We'll play Mishra's Bauble, target myself. I do want that Carpet. But that means I have to fetch Tropical Island, and then we're playing in a Daze and Wasteland. I'm going to just fetch, grab the basic, play Ponder, shuffle. Okay, well, we got the best card off the Ponder, and now we get a random draw off of Mishra's Bauble. In response to my trigger, they play Entomb for Atraxa. Flooded Strand. Come on, no Reanimate, please. They fetch. Underground Sea. Ponder, yes! Okay, no Reanimate. They shuffled off the Ponder. We'll play Beseiju Who Endures. Play Carpet. It looks like they're F6'd. We'll make black mana here. Brainstorm. I can play... Actually, let's put the Guy's Will on top, because if they do force me... Oh no, I thought I had a land drop here. Did I just punt? Because I could have... I think I just messed up. Because I could have suspended the Guy's Will to get it out of my hand. And I thought I had a land drop, but that doesn't make sense because I played the Beseech. So now I'm forced to pass the turn. So I might have just cost myself this because I could have gone suspend the Guy's Will, Dark Ritual, Beseech the Mirror, Tendrils, and I think that probably would have done it. Now they're going to Brainstorm. Yeah, I just punted. I forgot that I drew the Beseech. It's very silly. And now I'm getting punished by this Thoughtseize. So our top two cards are Guy's Will and Underground Sea. Suspend the Guy's Will, we'll play Underground Sea, pass. They have 5 cards. Animate Dead. Yep. Force of Negation, Daze, another Reanimate. Archon of Cruelty. I'm going to just concede. I messed this one up. We had a real shot to win and I just threw it away. So now we know they're actually Reanimator. I think I'll bring in the Ley Lines, although it doesn't feel amazing. I guess maybe it's better with Helm, which is why Tyler and I put it in there. Bring in the land in Chrome Mox again. Alright, so first step, we get rid of Ad Nauseam. And then 2 Mishra's Baubles, 2 Cabal Ritual, 2 Chrome Mox. We probably don't need the Beseechus. And then sideboard out the Carpets. Let's try this. Feels bad. I should have just taken a second longer to think. I mean, this is pretty good. Keep. I mean, there's no Ley Line, but the hand is very good. Misty Rainforest will fetch. And I think I'm supposed to grab Underground Sea because I need to ponder on 1 and Thoughtseize on turn 2. Play the Ponder. And that gives me a Bargainable too. This is everything we need. Pass the turn. Flooded Strand. Underground Sea. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. That hurts. They take Beseech. Honestly, I don't even want the Beseech here. That was a good take for me as long as it doesn't get surgicaled. We'll play Thoughtseize. And if they don't have anything here, we have an easy win. Yeah, they're dead. We'll take Brainstorm. Play out Lotus Petal. Fetch. Grab Underground Sea. Lines a Diamond. Dark Ritual. Hold priority on Infernal Tutor. And we sacrifice the diamond for 3 black. Storm is 5. You grab Beseech the Mirror. And now you play Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, sacrificing the Lotus Petal. We grab Guy's Will. Play the Guy's Will as Storm 7. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond. And the opponent concedes. Alright, well, Leyline of the Void wasn't needed for game number 3. I'm sorry that I punted game 2, but we're still undefeated. I don't know if I mentioned it in the deck tech, so I'll mention it now. Tyler went 5-0 with this deck list. We're currently 3-0. It feels good, despite me playing averagely. I think that's the nicest way you can put it. Let's see if I can get the next 2. The best Legacy podcast? That would be Eternal Glory featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Coval and Phil Gallagher. We're available on all major podcast platforms and YouTube. Round number 4, we are on the play. The opponent has revealed a Yorion Sky Nomad. Okay, so we have the Guy's Will, as I mentioned, always in my opening hand. We have a Thoughtseize, the Chrome Mox, so if Ponder hits like a Beseech the Mirror, we don't even have Guy's Will because it's in my hand. I think this is just a mulligan. This is secretly good. This is a turn 2 win as long as I draw an imprintable. Put the island on the bottom. The question is, are they Death and Taxes or are they a control deck? Who knows? We'll play the Verdant Catacombs and pass. Flooded Strand, it could be either. We'll fetch. Grab under City Sewers. Ideally, I would hit a Thoughtseize here. I'll take a Duress, but it's going to feel bad if they're actually Death and Taxes. Play the Polluted Delta. Duress. And there it is. They are Death and Taxes. I got fooled by the Flooded Strand. Oh no. Oh no. And they're actually on... So, another thing is a lot of these deck lists actually aren't playing Thalia anymore, and our opponent is. So, we see the Thalia. I can Infernal Tutor for 3 here. But the best thing I can do is Thoughtseize them. This stinks. If this was a Thoughtseize, I think we win this, but I think the only line I have here, and this is going to seem crazy, is I have to Infernal Tutor, crack the LED, and then go get Thoughtseize and try to come back. This is definitely a feel bad. So I have to Infernal Tutor, crack for 3 black, The Flooded Strand got me. Maybe they concede here. Who knows? We'll grab Thoughtseize, play it. So the crazy thing is, even though I am wasting my entire hand here and just essentially mind twisted myself, if I draw Infernal Tutor, I can go grab another Beseech the Mirror, and then any black land, I think, means that we win. They grab Shadowy Backstreet, Arid Mesa, they pass. Chromox, not great here. They play a land. They could put the Yorion to their hand now. Flicker Wisp, they can get rid of my Chromox. Yep. So now their Chromox is empty. We're just a little bit further from winning. So no need to play the Duress. We'll pass. I take 3 down to 13. Another Chromox. Not ideal. I would like a Brainstorm. They fetch for another Shadowy Backstreet. Surprised they didn't flash in a Yorion. Or I'm sorry, put the Yorion to their hand last turn. There's land number 5. 3 cards in hand, one of which is a Solitude. So I'm going to go to 10. I'm running out of time here. Infernal Tutor. Okay. So I can go grab Beseech, but I am a black mana short. So I'd have to draw a mana next turn. And if they had put Yorion to their hand, I would have been short a black mana. So them not putting Yorion to their hand could cost them. We'll grab Beseech the Mirror. Pass. End step flash on the Solitude. No, it's a Thalia and a Bowmasters. That's not lethal. That is 7. They could flicker their own Bowmasters, and that would be 8. So a fetch land is shut off for me. No, they go after my Chromox. Okay. So it has to be exactly Dark Ritual or a Cabal Ritual. So we have 6 hits. They made the right play. Alright, so we lose game number 1 because I decided to respect Flooded Strand. Ouch. Alright, let's get the Duress out of the deck. We probably want Empty the Warrens, Echoing Truth, and then we'll bring in Beseiju, and then take out 1 Cabal Ritual and 1 fetch land. Try this. I feel like that game got away from me. They reveal Yorion. This is crazy. I'm going to keep this. They mulligan. Like, my hand isn't fast, but I have the potential of burning or brainstorm into Beseech the Mirror into a win. And I think that having Beseiju to answer like a Deafening Silence or something is just worthwhile. Marsh Flats, they fetch. Plains. And that's Deafening Silence. So I will go grab my Surveil land. Sewers. Get rid of Polluted Delta. Yep, you got it. And I think we just pass here. I can Beseiju the Deafening Silence on the end step, untap, and try to win. Grafdigger's Cage. Okay. We will fetch. Grab Tropical Island. Beseiju the Deafening Silence. So if I want to empty the Warrens, I do need to either draw into Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond, or some other card I can bargain. So Petal and Diamond make red mana for empty, or a bargainable for Beseech the Mirror. Another Infernal Tutor. Let's Brainstorm. Storm 1. So I hit the Beseech, but I don't have the bargainable. Okay. So what are we going to do? I think we put back the Island and Underground Sea. We'll play the Swamp. And Infernal Tutor to shuffle our deck. We'll grab another Dark Ritual. And if they have a Thalia, it's going to hurt. But I don't know what else I was supposed to do there. Any bargainable one, or a way for me to get Hellbent. And it looks like they don't have Thalia. We draw another Underground Sea. So let's just do some quick counting. 3 Dark Rituals is 7. 3 untap lands would be 10 mana. I could Beseech the Mirror for Lion's Eye Diamond, and then Infernal Tutor. I could Ad Nauseam here. They could flash in a Bowmasters, Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual. I wonder if also I could just like Natural Storm. Probably not though. They're at 19. Infernal Tutor for another Dark Ritual would be 3, 4, 5. Beseech would be 6. Tendrils would be 7. That's not enough. We will Beseech the Mirror. Grab a Lion's Eye Diamond. Play Dark Ritual. Actually, this was dumb. I sequenced this poorly because I get blown up by a Surgical for no reason. So I can Ad Nauseam with an untapped land, or I can empty the Warrens for a lot. I do know that some Death and Taxes lists are playing Wrath of the Skies in the sideboard, so that is a slight concern. We have one Beseech out of the deck already. I could grab another Infernal Tutor into Tendrils. That's still not enough. I think it's just Ad Nauseam. And I'm going to double check my sideboard to make sure that the Ad Nauseam's still in my deck. It is. We have 5 4-drops still in the deck because I left in... So there's the empty, 3 Beseeches, and then the Tendrils. We're at 18. We could be at 17 with the Bowmasters. I've played a land. I think it's just the Ad Naus. Ad Nauseam. Okay. 17, 15, 11, 10. Need some mana. Tendrils puts me to 6. I'm 1 mana short of casting it. That does it. I could flip again safely. There we go. Stop at 5. Bowmasters does not kill me here. Play the Chrome Mox. Alright, we won game number 2. No changes. Let's just resubmit. Now they're on the play, though. We saw a Deafening Silence, Grafdigger's Cage. We know that they're playing black. The blacklist plays 4 main deck Thoughtseize. This is a weird hand. They mulligan. Triple Infernal Tutor's real bad. I don't think I'm allowed to keep this. This seems fine. Get rid of a land. Probably the Polluted Delta in case they keep a hand with Needle and then Needle on Polluted Delta. I have the 2 off-color fetches. Mulligan to 4. Mulligan to 3. They're digging real hard here. They kept 3 cards. Scrubland. Thoughtseize. They take my Dark Ritual. Infernal Tutor. We'll fetch and play Ponder. Grab the island. Trying to not lose to Wasteland this game. So you could go Petal Thoughtseize. I think that's a mistake. I'm not going to do that. But we will keep this. Because let's say their last card is Thalia. They have to rip the land too. And that's a lot of what ifs. Meanwhile, I'd have to burn a Lotus Petal. It doesn't seem worthwhile to me. So I will fetch. We'll grab the basic Swamp. Thoughtseize and then Ponder. Actually, let's Ponder first. Let's say hypothetically the card in their hand is a Surgical. I don't want to play into that. So we'll shuffle. Play the Thoughtseize. Disruptor Flute. Ooh, White Orchid Phantom. That would kill... No, it wouldn't, because both my lands are basic. So we'll take the Disruptor Flute. And pass. They drew Wasteland. We drew Beseech. Well, let's play Ponder. See if I can find some mana. I don't think that this is a keep. Like, Beseech is a powerful card, but I'm not near casting it. So let's shuffle this. Chrome Mox, that's actually fine. We'll play the Sewers. Surveil. Get rid of the Thoughtseize. Actually, hold on. If I keep Thoughtseize, next turn I can play out my hand and go grab Beseech. We'll keep the Thoughtseize. Pass. They drew the white source for the White Orchid Phantom. Okay. Play Beseech. We'll play Chrome Mox. Imprint the Thoughtseize. Play out Lotus Petal. Infernal Tutor. And now this goes and grabs Beseech the Mirror. I mean, theoretically, I could grab Ad Nauseam, but they're going to destroy the Beseech. So... grabbing Beseech here gives them a window to draw like a Grafdigger's Cage or a Fairy Macabre that could hurt me, but I think Beseech is just a lot easier to win with. I'm sorry, Beseech the Mirror is a lot easier to win with. We'll shuffle our deck. There's no other basics. Echoing Truth. So I can Beseech sacking the Chrome Mox. We'd replay Petal. Yeah, I mean, we're going to go for it here. Beseech the Mirror, sacrifice Chrome Mox. Grab the Gaia's Will. Cast it, Storm 2. Long pause here. Did you actually draw it? They let it go. We'll play Lotus Petal. Play the Chrome Mox. Imprint Echoing Truth. Dark Ritual. We'll play Misty Rainforest. Fetch. So Beseech isn't quite lethal yet. And they concede. We're 4-0. Ad Nauseam Tendrils in the year 2025 is 4-0. Tyler went 5-0. Can we duplicate Tyler's success? I hope so. Stick around for match number 5. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy of the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. For the trophy, match number 5, we're on the draw versus J.A. Alicio, who traditionally only plays prison decks. That said, their latest 5-0 was with Dimir Reanimator. So it could be a blue deck, it could be Mono Red Prison, it could be Eldrazi Stompy. Who knows? But I have this hand where we have Beseech the Mirror, we have cards to bargain away, I can make black mana, I believe that this is a keep. Bloodstained Mire, so probably Reanimator. They fetch... Underground Sea, and Thoughtseize. Okay. They take my Beseech the Mirror. Interesting. We rip Ad Nauseam. Don't mind if I do. I'm going to duress them now. We will take the Brainstorm because I don't want them to convert that Fatal Push. I'd like that card to rot in their hand. So we're probably going to get Wastelanded here. They do in fact destroy my land, and now they can play Ponder. Cabal Ritual is secretly a very good draw for us because it would give us all 5 mana we need for Ad Nauseam. They shuffled their library with the Ponder, so they have a random draw, and we hit the Cabal Ritual! Let's go! So this Misty Rainforest is card number 4, Lotus Petal would be 5, we'll play the Ponder, that will be 6. Ooh, so I could keep this Ponder, imprint Infernal Tutor. I think we keep this. Pass the turn. So I'm currently 1 card short of Cabal Ritual Threshold. They play Verdant Catacombs, 3 cards in their hand. We'll play the Ponder. So this would give me Threshold. I think we keep this. Don't shuffle. Play the Polluted Delta. Play Chrome Mox and print the Cabal Ritual. Sacrifice the Lotus Petal. And why would I play out Polluted Delta? It's a land that deals me damage. Well, if one of the cards in their hand is Daze, I don't want to get dazed. And I'm not fetching because I know my top 2 cards are Lion's Eye Diamond, Chrome Mox. Thoughtseize, Misty Rainforest, Polluted Delta. Let's slide this up. Okay, we go to 14. Infernal Tutor, Gaia's Will, Lotus Petal, Duress, Cabal Ritual. We'll stop at 5. And this should do it. Pretty sweet. 1 game away from greatness. We'll imprint the Thoughtseize. Let's duress them to see if we can get any more info. No, it's just Fatal Push and lands. Okay. Cabal Ritual. And Tendrils of Agony. Boom! That is how we do. Reanimator. So we'll bring in Leyline of the Void, the Helm, and Fluster Storms. Get rid of that Ad Nauseam that just won the game. Don't want that. And then the Mishra's Baubles. So I have a sideboard guide that I made with Tyler, and I've been referencing it all league. If we trophy, I will ask Tyler if I can post the sideboard guide. It is Tyler's. Tyler requested it, so I would need Tyler's permission to do so. But if we trophy, I will ask his permission. And if we don't trophy, no one's ever going to see it. So pray for a trophy right now. 2 Chrome Mox, 2 Cabal Ritual. And that is 60. So let's try this. I mean, this hand is good. We don't have protection. We don't have Leyline. We do have the Gaia's Will in my hand. People don't believe me when I say Gaia's Will is glued to my openers. It's true. I think you have to send this. We'll keep. Get rid of the Brainstorm. And then just pray that we draw an artifact. Actually, Chrome Mox is our best hit here. Not even close. Underground Sea. And Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. They have 5 cards remaining. We hit it. Holy moly. So I can imprint Duress, play Duress, and then we have Lethal. This is what I was talking about in the deck tech. Duress just being insane. We'll Duress them. And they have double force. Ah, jeez. We'll take Force of Will. And they have Nethergoyf in their deck, so they're actually tempo. So I boarded in the Leylines versus tempo, so that's not particularly good. I could have taken the Brainstorm, but I think it's fighting the matchup on the wrong axis, and I don't want to do that. So now they'll flip Tamiyo. How we win this is I'm going to go grab the Undercity Sewers, and I need to find Thoughtseize, Duress, or Fluster Storm. And now they plus the Tamiyo. They did not hit another land. Interesting. Grab the Undercity Sewers. Come on, deck. Pretty please. Definitely don't want Helm of Obedience. Okay. Another Beseech the Mirror. Think we have to just pass. I could go like Dark Ritual Beseech, then go get protection, but then I need more mana. And then next turn they could just minus the Tamiyo and get back a force. So I don't think that's a good idea. They play Nethergoyf. Alright, deck. I need you to be good to me here. We'll play Infernal Tutor. And they have Daze. Okay. Pass the turn. They replay the Underground Sea, 5 cards. They plus the Tamiyo. So next turn is going to Ultimate. Time is running out. They swing for 2. Okay. Play the Duress. Please have nothing, please have nothing, please have nothing. They have nothing. Okay. This should be a match win. Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual. So Tyler went 5-0 with this deck list last night. I went 5-0 with it today. Ad Nauseam Tendrils. All it did, it just required playing the good cards. And by the good cards, I mean Beseech the Mirror. Storm 5. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. We'll play land for turn. Play Chrome Mox. You can play a Duress because why not? Take the Kaito. And now Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice the Chrome Mox. Tendrils of Agony. We did it. Heyo. Tyler is going to be so happy. Back-to-back 5-0s for Ad Nauseam Tendrils in the year 2025. Alright, so 5-0. I don't know what I would do to the deck list. So you could cut the Tropical Island and play it as another Undercity Sewers, but then you have to cut the 5 green cards from the sideboard, and I feel like having Beseiju versus blue decks is just worthwhile. And then Carpet of Flowers is obviously very good, as you saw in the first few matches, so I don't know what I'd change. I think the deck list is actually quite good. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. Tyler, I'm so happy for you that Ad Nauseam Tendrils seems more competitive now, and I hope this list does well for you at Eternal Weekend. And if you're interested in your own tutoring sessions, you can visit theepicstorm.com/tutoring like Tyler did to help build your deck like we did in this video. So everyone, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and as always, keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. There's no better way to support our channel. If you're interested in elevating your combo game, visit theepicstorm.com/tutoring for details about our coaching sessions. Don't worry, there's more great combo content coming right up.